Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning. Do another game preview this week's Thursday night matchup. Two current division leaders, the Carolina Panthers and the Houston Texans. Jay and I just going to be previewing that matchup. Before we get into the video, question of the day, drop your score predictions down in the comments below. And one more thing, heading on over to Thrive Fantasy, there are some props for this week's game for you Panthers fans. You got Sam Darnold, you got CMC, you got DJ Moore. So take your top picks on you Panthers players. Hopefully make some money this Thursday night. But Jay, back to the matchup. What are you thinking?
This would be somewhat of a fun game to watch if Tyrod Taylor was in. I don't have high expectations for the Texans in general. I really don't. But Tyrod Taylor, he's been efficient. Even a little bit he did play in week 2. He had the second highest passer rating behind Aaron Rodgers. That's a pretty good class to be in. But entering this game, it's not like Sam Darnold has proven to be the guy in the sense of stepping up as an Allen or a Mahomes and Rodgers. I don't know if he'll ever get there. But it's still, while he's heading the right direction, it's still 50-50 on how good is he. And I do think him against Tyrod Taylor could be somewhat of an interesting matchup. But Sam Darnold, who does seem to be heading in the right direction, versus Davis Mills, who's just kind of being thrown in there, I just don't see that matching up. Davis Mills is not going to be the Justin Herbert, Tyrod Taylor situation by any means, in my opinion. I think Brandin Cooks is going to have some fun. I think he's going to show some flashes of talent. I think the Texans can hang in there for the early beginning. I don't think the Panthers team is going to put up 45 points. If so, they would have done that against either the Jets or the Saints, which they dominated. And the Texans team, when I think they are better at, I just don't think this Panthers team is one to put up 50 points. I think it would be close early on, but I got the Panthers probably winning this one.
Yeah, so this is a game that I think with a healthy Tyrod Taylor, the Texans are 2-0. You look at their game last week against Cleveland, came into halftime tied. Tyrod's hurt. They lose by 10 points 2 quarters later. So, whatever. So, if Tyrod was healthy, this game would be a lot more interesting. Right now, he's listed as day-to-day, so it's not impossible that we see him play Thursday, but likely not. But in all honesty, I think this is a game that if Tyrod's in, the Texans can win. We've seen what he does. Looking at him versus Darnold stats through, 2.5 games, through 6 quarters of football, 416 yards, no turnovers. Tyrod Taylor has looked very sharp this year, and him and Brandin Cooks, I don't know the total yardage stat on them, but they've been like Deshaun and D-Hop were, at least in one game against Jacksonville when they were together. So my point is, a healthy Texans team puts up a good fight against Carolina, but looking at Carolina on that side of the football, they've got 10 sacks through 2 games. Their defense would definitely outmatch Houston, so it would have to be an offensive battle. And I think with Tyrod in this game, the Texans' offense can keep up with that. But you look at rookie Davis Mills, the likely starter. I like what you said. They're probably going to hang in for the first half. I hope to see them, as in the Texans, hang in for the first half of the game. But a rookie quarterback is not going to be able to keep up with that. I don't think, at least what we saw in the last half against Cleveland. He didn't look that great. He did throw for a touchdown, but also an interception. But looking at Houston's defense, 5 takeaways through 2 games. They picked off Baker Mayfield once, and they also forced a fumble. Safety Justin Reed actually did both of those. So if he's healthy, because he also suffered an injury late in the Cleveland game, I think that Sam Darnold is turnover prone. With the Jets, he did turn over. He just had flashes of several picks or fumble, whatever. He just had some flashes of turnovers. He hasn't done that yet this year. So I think Houston defense will put up a little more of a fight than you might think. But all in all, this is the Panthers' game to win, especially if Tyrod's not in the game.
Yeah, and even though Houston's defense is playing a lot better than any of us expected, I think it goes the same for the Panthers. They're hitting that tier of, at least in my opinion, reaching that top 10 class. Brian Burns is becoming a great edge rusher. We got Derek Brown as a big tackle in the middle. And Hassan Reddick, a very underrated free agent side. And we got to remember, that cat had 5 sacks in 1 game last year. Now he's with the Panthers, and I think he's leading the team in sacks. In the secondary, you got Dante Jackson, a very athletic guy. J.C. Horn, the rookie, got his first pick last week. Jeremy Chinn's an up-and-coming safety. And A.J. Boye, a former Houston Texan, correct?
Correct, yep.
Is a Carolina Panther. He was out the first 2 games. It's his first game back against Houston on Carolina. So I'm excited to see how he will be. He's up there in age in a sense, but still he can help out these younger guys on that team. And Shaq Thompson, kind of the captain of that front 7 of that team, he's been absolutely taken off. He's just leading this team in tackles, and you could tell he's filling that captain role. I predicted the Panthers to, by the end of this year, reach a top 10 defensive status, but I didn't expect it to come this early just because of all the new guys and young guys, and even those guys that have experience, like Hassan Reddick. He's new to the team. A guy like A.J. Boye, who has experience, they're new to the team. I didn't expect it to click this fast, but they are looking good, and I think in this, I don't want to say defensive matchup because you got McCaffrey, who's probably going to put up 150 yards, Anderson, DJ Moore, and Sam Darnold's playing well, but a matchup of which the Texans need to be a defensive matchup. I think I just think the Panthers defense is way too good and it's up and coming. But this just kind of tell me, what if Deshaun was playing? Like, the Texans are looking solid. I mean, that's a whole nother video to talk about. Yeah. But Texans, while I think the Panthers should own this one, I don't want to completely underrate them.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned it. I'd look for Christian McCaffrey to have a big game. Not to say him and Nick Chubb are the same guy, but last week Nick Chubb ran all over the Houston Texans defense. Their rush defense is not very good. So I'd look for him to have 75 rushing yards alone, and we know he's good for another 50 through the air. So I'd look for McCaffrey to have a big game. Looking over there at Thrive Fantasy, I would take the over on him. I don't know what it was. I guess we can look at it here. The yardage was 134.5. It's hard to say under any time on McCaffrey, but against Houston's defense, I would say he's going to be the primary guy picking up yards, so I would take the over on that. But back to the matchup, you mentioned what if Deshaun was back, and I guess we don't need to get into this, but I really think the way Tyrod Taylor was playing through his first 6 healthy quarters of football is as good as Deshaun was. Yeah. With the weapons that he has, I really don't think the Texans are missing a whole lot if Tyrod could be healthy. And again, it's still possible, but not likely. But throwing a rookie quarterback into that system, he gets a week to practice as the starter. Even if he looks solid, the Carolina pass rush is just not going to be friendly to him. Yeah. And Tyrod will hopefully be able to evade that, but he's probably not going to be in the game.
And we got to remember, he's a third-round pick. He was probably, I think, the 6th or 7th quarterback taken in his draft class. You can't expect too much out of Davis Mills. Maybe the run game could take some pressure off him, whether it be Phillip Lindsay, David Johnson, Mark Ingram, whoever it is. Maybe RBU can help him out a little bit. But either way, just think Sam Darnold, he is heading in the right direction, and this is just going to continue his and the Panthers' path of looking like a possible playoff team.
Yeah, and not to mention games in Houston if you value that at all. But I think advantage goes to Carolina in this game. But back to the question today, Jay. You got to throw a score out there. What you got?
I'm going to say the Panthers put up their first 30-point game. I'm going to say 30 flat, though. And I'm going to say with Tyrod Taylor, I'm going to give them 30-20. Without Tyrod Taylor, I'm going to say 30-13. Yeah,
I'm going to say, again, I'm going to go throw 2 scores out there. If Tyrod's able to play a healthy game, I'm going to go Houston wins this one 30-27 with Tyrod. Without, I think Panthers still put up 27-30 points, but Houston's only good for 17. So I'll say Davis Mills is a starter. Carolina takes this game 30-17. Those are our predictions. Remember to comment down below what you think as far as a score prediction. But guys, thanks for watching. 2 Minute Warning.